Welcome to a sparkling new podcast from Mike Parry and Mike Graham. We're the two Mikes.
Actually, it sounds even better when you do it Dullsville, because when you try to be happy and excited and energetic, you sound pathetic.
Thanks.
The rucksackers are something we're going to talk about during the course of this show in the next few weeks. Rucksackers, to me, are the dearth of human civilization.
I did a bit of research to find out, the history of traffic wardens and have they always been so demonic and all that. Look at the light!
This is TalkSport Extra Time with the two Mikes, and it is that time of the morning to say a very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
I'm not going to say good morning this morning. What I'm going to say this morning is this.
What?
Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy? You don't only say land ahoy.
No. Why am I saying ahoy?
I've no idea.
Well,
are you off to the high seas?
No.
You're not going to join Paul Breen Turner on his mission around the world in his yacht?
What a ridiculous...
Did you hear him this morning?
What a ridiculous mission. He said he's gone on a world tour and he's got to Valencia so far.
Yeah, that's about 10 yards down the road.
Yeah, about 10 miles from where he started off. But anyway, good luck to him. Hope his old bathtub doesn't sink.
Has he sold that bar yet?
I very much doubt it. We advertised it on Twitter for about 6.5 months, didn't he? If he'd have put some people in to show people...
Maybe we should buy it.
Well, who knows? But, I mean, if he put some people in to show it's actually a functioning bar and people actually go in there sometimes, rather than looking like a ghost town bar, which is what it looked like,
does.
he might have got something from it. Yeah. No, ahoy, ahoy, ahoy is the code word that was given on this day in 1876 to How You Answer the Telephone by Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, was it?
This was the day of the first ever telephone message, OK?
Really?
And it was from Alexander Bell to a chap called Mr. Watson.
See, I've always wondered about when you invent something like a telephone, right? And you're the guy that invents the telephone, how do you know anybody else has got one?
Well, you don't, because you've invented it. But what happened was he put a line through to next door to Mr. Watson. Seems to be a lot of Watsons around.
Yeah, there are.
Because Sherlock Holmes had a Mr. Watson as well, didn't he?
Dr. Watson.
Dr. Watson, that's right. And this guy's name was Thomas Watson. And he said, Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy.
Was that it?
Yeah, that was it, yeah. And then he came next door, and that was the first ever telephone call. Since then, of course, it's become big business. But anyway, never mind the ahoy, ahoy. Actually, so much big business now. People are worried about going deaf using telephones because they don't know how to adjust the volume.
Well, we must talk about the old Apple Watch as well at some point,
Well,
I can't see the point, to be honest.
I can't see the point, and the point is it doesn't work independently anyway. You've got to have an iPhone with it, so it's to me it's a half-baked scheme.
We may be too old to get it,
but look, we've got to look at the football because it is so significant. Yeah. I think that was an incredible result for PSG. Yeah. I think that Jose was very, very clever at the end. Where's Jose going to go if he leaves Chelsea and needs another job in management?
Well, he's not going to go to Real Madrid, is he?
No, because he's been there.
He's not going to go to Inter Milan, because he's been there.
No.
You think he's going to go to PSG, is that what you're saying?
Well, all I'm saying is, do you not remember the famous game of Real Madrid against Manchester United 3 seasons ago?
Yeah.
And Real Madrid won. But
he said the worst team won, didn't he?
Exactly. He said the worst team won. He said, United very good. Now, he was looking for the Manchester United job in those days, OK? Yeah. Now, you have to wonder about the conspiracy theories here.
But has the lustre come off him a little bit after what happened last night?
Not at all. Because,
don't you think so?
No, last season was his first season back, so he was disappointed, didn't win anything. This season, it looks like he's going to win the Premier League and the League Cup, which he's already won, which is what he won in his first season last time he was here. Yeah. And next season, he will hope to have a clean sweep as much as you can.
I just can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine them not winning the Premier League. That's true, but I can't imagine that Mr. Abramovich is particularly happy about what happened last night.
No, I shouldn't think he is. But here's another conspiracy theory. It's coming from me. Okay, this is this is me doing my research.
You're not normally
a
conspiracy theorist.
No. Here, nobody has mentioned yet Laurent Blanc.
Yes,
Laurent Blanc, the bespectacled PSG boss, right?
Who before last night was said to be under quite a bit of pressure and might have been out if he hadn't won this game.
Under terrific pressure, but people don't seem to have picked up on the fact that between 2001 and 2003, he was the emergency centre-half for Manchester United.
True.
He went there because Sir Alex Ferguson desperately needed a defender, and it culminated in them winning both the League Cup and the Premier League in 2003. Do you think Laurent Blanc has been on the phone to Sir Alex Ferguson ahead of this game?
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, always saw Jose Mourinho as his nemesis. It's widely...
Although good mates of his, though, wasn't he?
Well, mates now, but
well, no, they used to share a bottle of red wine, didn't they? When they were playing in the same city.
There's mates and mates, if you know what I mean. I mean, there was always a theory that Sir Alex didn't really want Jose to come to Manchester United in case he emulated some part of his record and something like that. Could he have been on the phone to Laurent Blanc? Could Laurent Blanc have been on the phone to him to say, how do I get past Jose Mourinho? How do I do it? And in the end, did Sir Alex say, and we don't know that they were in contact together, take advantage of the fact that Jose will play nasty? Because he did play nasty. All his players, it
was a very bad-tempered game, wasn't it?
None of the 10 outfield players could possibly have seen the foul which led to the sending off of Ibrahimovic.
Except what Jose did before the game was to make very sure that the officials were going to be on the lookout for any kind of challenge made by PSG because they're very aggressive. And he fell for it.
Yeah, but it wasn't an aggressive challenge.
No, it wasn't. No.
It wasn't an aggressive challenge. And it was pressure from the players who surrounded him saying, get him off. And he went out. It backfired on him because the 10 players left on the field turned out to be better than
But was it not also in
Chelsea's
his head?
11?
It was in his head, because this is what Jose does. He puts in the referee's head before the game even starts.
Sure.
First time somebody goes flailing into a tackle, I'm going to book him.
Yeah,
incredible.
I think that's absolutely true. But anyway, that leaves us in the position where with City and Arsenal going away next week to defend defeats at home.
I think one of them might do it, though.
Well, one of them might do it, but it's unlikely. It means that Everton tonight...
No, I was wondering when you were going to get around to Everton.
Yeah, well, I should do. They're playing tonight. Everton tonight. Everton versus Dynamo Kiev could be the lone representative in Europe next week by Thursday next week.
With all due respect to Everton and not at all diminishing their efforts, that's appalling for English football. For the Premier League, that would be terrible, wouldn't it?
They've won 5 of their 8 matches in Europe. That's an outstanding record, really, in any competition in Europe. They've got to put out a full-strength team. They've got to, because Roberto Martinez now, although I don't think Everton are in anything like relegation trouble, he's got to try and win back the fans towards himself, because it's been a really lacklustre year. We've only won 1 game this year. And the way to do that is to have a booming sort of, European night at Goodison Park. And that's what he's going to try and do. And that's what we hope will happen. But, of course, both City and Arsenal will have played next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, before Everton play in Kiev on Thursday.
Yes.
Could be by the Thursday. Everton are flying the flag, the lone representatives in Europe. And if that's the case, one wonders whether one might have to say, let's get down the airport, jump on the plane, get over there, last remaining team. Something we must put to the management.
We must do that, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with some kind of funding principle for them as well, otherwise they'll just say no, won't they?
Putting your hand in your pocket to the accountants. It's quite simple.
Now, to finish off your
Value
Laurent
for
Blanc...
money, by the way, when we go anywhere.
Your Laurent Blanc scenario, are you suggesting that he might still be leaving PSG and Jose might be still thinking of going there then?
Laurent Blanc was always, in my view, appointed to PSG as a manager to take them on the progressive route that their owners, the very wealthy Middle East people...
the Qataris,
want them to go.
Right.
But when they'd reached a plateau where they could now start challenging the Europe's top teams, Laurent Blanc was always going to be replaced by a man like Ancelotti, by a man like Pepe Guardiola, by a man even like Jose Mourinho. I think that is an obvious development of what will happen. Laurent Blanc won't be given the responsibility to take them to European glory, i.e. champions of Europe.
You don't think he might end up at Manchester United, do you?
He may go sideways, if you see what I mean, which would be a sideways move for him if United is still bubbling around in 4th or 5th place and trying to regain their glory days. That is a possibility. However, I think it's unlikely. I think United, if they go next time, they've got to go for the outstanding manager in the world if they want to retain their status as the biggest club in the world. I would have thought that was obvious.
Who, Pep?
Well, yeah, absolutely. As long as he's still interested, you get the kind of feeling that Pep's now not that interested in football like he used to be.
Right.
He's won so much, done so much. Where else can he go? After conquering everything with Barcelona, and he will hopefully to himself, that is, have conquered the world with Bayern
I fancy
you wonder
them
what
to
else
win.
he'll do next.
I fancy them to win the Champions League, by the way. I'm just going to say that now.
Well,
but you have to look at the time now.
I thought the only other contenders were Chelsea.
Yeah.
Although, how do you write off Real Madrid just because they had a bum result? A bum result resulted in them scoring 3 goals at home. So I'm not sure about this.
It's all very complicated.
Sure. Any team that's got Ronaldo has got a huge chance of winning the Champions League. That is, in my view, he's a one-man team, the world's biggest one-man team. Ronaldo, who can score goals with his head, by the way, as well with his feet.
True. Very, very true indeed. He's Mike Porky Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We've got lots more to do. It's all coming up on TalkSport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as hoes. Yeah, but maybe.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on today. It's Porkyvision night tonight, so I'm very much looking forward to another instructive episode of what we should be watching and what we shouldn't be watching. We're also going to talk to Sandra Lee tonight as well down in Australia.
Excellent.
Who's standing by very, very shortly. A couple of tweets to read out to you. Here's one from We Are the Resistance saying, brilliant news, Porky and old MG going into a war zone that is Kiev. Good luck, boys. Get the tin hats on.
Yeah, no, we'd love to.
So
love to go.
He's looking forward to that.
We've been putting pressure on the management, don't worry. We believe that we should be the flag bearers for the whole operation. Remember the time differences, the sort of times we do shows. There'll be millions of Everton fans around, well, 6,000 at least. Well, and it would be a terrific mission. But it's not our decision.
Now, Robert, unfortunately, has wanted to correct you about Alexander Graham Bell. He simply said, Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you.
Yeah.
Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy is more rubbish from Porky.
No, it's not. It's not. Alexander Graham Bell recommended answering the telephone with the word ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. So when he rang Mr. Watson next door, Mr. Watson said, ahoy, 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 to make sure he hadn't got the wrong number.
Right.
Bearing in mind,
there was somebody else.
No, exactly. There was only one number in the world at the time, but he had to make absolutely...
Do you know what the number was, by the way?
I don't know. But
that'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Just hit number one, speed dial, number one.
I don't know, but he said to Mr. Watson, just to make sure it's you, ahoy, 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 because he thought that, he might give a secret formula about the telephone.
My dad used to get into terrible rows when we first lived in London when I was a kid, and we had one of those shared telephone lines.
Oh, we did,
and there were two guys that lived next door,
in
the flat next door, and he came home one night from work, and they'd been giving my mother a terrible time, accusing her of listening in on their phone conversations. Which culminated in my dad throwing one of them down the stairs.
Oh dear, that's rather violent, isn't it? Yeah, of course, your dad was rather eccentric.
He was a bit. Yeah.
What were they called? They were called not a shared line. They were called a branch line or something.
Something like that.
No, what was it called?
But you'd pick the phone up.
Was it called a party line?
Maybe, yeah. But you'd pick up the phone and there'd be somebody talking on it.
We lived at 23 Laurel Grove, right? And eventually we had a phone installed because my dad got a job as a salesman, travelling salesman. So people had to, ring in and give him details of sales and all that kind of stuff. And it was amazing. The first time I used it and picked it up, I must have been about 6 or something, and there was somebody talking. So I started saying hello, and they said, "Get off the line." And I thought,
that's what they always said. Get off the line.
I thought these phones were supposed to communicate, not to tell you to go away.
Right.
And in fact, I realised we had the same line as number 16 across the road.
Yeah, same number.
Same number.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was the same number. No, it wasn't the same number because whenever I dialed home, I never got number 16.
Right, okay.
But they shared a line. The line must have been carrying 2 numbers, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, it meant if somebody else was on the line, you get an engaged tone, something like that.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
I think so.
I don't know. Anyway, listen, I want to tell you about... we were just talking about cars, as usual, because we're obsessed by them.
Yeah.
You travelling tonight to find all the roads have been painted with 20-mile-an-hour signs.
I mean, I don't know where they get the money to do this.
What's going on?
It's ridiculous. Well, I mean, now, there is no road now between this office and where I live in London, which has not got a 20-mile-an-hour sign on it. But there are now people, instead of, having the effect that you drive at 20 miles an hour, which in some parts of London is quite fast, but, at this time of night, you can normally do 30. They're now driving at sort of 15 miles an hour.
No,
and there are people driving so slowly. And everywhere I went, I was kind of stymied by one thing or another. And it took me about 20 minutes to get in, when it normally takes me 10. Absolutely outrageous.
Not good enough.
Horrible.
Now there is... Now, I'm going to give you some good historical news here, and I'm not advocating we should do this today, but, the parking wardens are in the news again because Eric Pickles, the rather portly communities minister, has said that give motorists 10 minutes leeway.
Oh, right, yeah, you said this would never happen, right?
Well, it will never happen, never happen. But anyway, I did a bit of research to find out, the history of traffic wardens and have they always been so demonic and all that, and I found this great, great story about Covent Garden. Now, Covent Garden was originally called Covent Garden because it was the vegetable market, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So when parking meters first came out, right, these group of farmers, it's brilliant, and they think they came from Suffolk every morning,
right?
And they came in one morning, they found all these parking meters, and they didn't know what they were, and then they started getting these tickets. So what these farmers did was because they worked on farms that used to have electric fences to keep the cattle in.
Yeah.
They brought electric fences with them and wired up all their cars to be electrically, electric shock.
Electric shock.
Yeah, and if a warden tried to put a ticket on any of their cars, the warden got electric shock and the ticket shot off into the road.
James Bond BMW.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very much like that. And they wired them up. And they got away with this for weeks, if not months, until one traffic warden was actually badly hurt with a shock and fell on the floor, burns on his arms and all kind of stuff.
Dear me.
And then they had to take them down.
Well, he wouldn't. I mean, nowadays it wouldn't work, would it?
Well, it'd be brilliant
because they just take. I mean, so many people now get tickets because of a camera rather than an actual warden.
Yeah, that's true. So, but I mean, there must be a way to fight back against the wardens, because you know as well as I do what the wardens will now do is they will wait there, frustrated that they can't do you 1 minute after 11 o'clock.
Because they're all working on targets
or 1
and
second.
bonuses,
so they'll do you 1 second after 10 minutes past 11, you know what I mean?
But I think a lot of people will not then get a ticket, because most people get tickets because they overstay by, say, 5 minutes and they get it wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I still can't see it working. It never does, and it never has done. And Mr. Pickles, by the way, has a huge track record of recommending we do all these things to make us a more, what's the word I'm looking for, a more realistic society, and to shed some of the, the liberal nonsense about, only having your bin collected every 3 or 4 weeks. But he doesn't seem to be able to get anything done. What do you think about the Clarkson situation?
Well, I want to talk to you about that in a minute, but I've got a question to ask you, because I know about cameras and the things. And by the way, the football stadium parking situation is stupid as well, isn't it? Where you can't park. Well, if you go to see a football match in a car, generally speaking, you can't find anywhere to park either.
Well, it depends. Like in Liverpool, they have a big car park in the middle of Stanley Park, which serves both, and so it's only a few hundred yards walk to the ground.
And what do you do? Pay as you leave or pay as you go in, or how does that work?
I don't know, because I haven't parked there for a long time, because I usually get the train up and then get a taxi from Lime Street,
Right. But here's the question I've got for you.
Oh, yes?
As part of my torturous journey in tonight, having driven behind, cyclists and various people at 15 miles an hour, I finally came to a point where I come through this little sort of back alley. It's like a sort of rat run that I come on, which brings me out just by Southwark Station, right? Now, as I came out of the end of that, there was a temporary traffic light, of course, that somebody had installed. The temporary traffic light was on the road adjacent to the one I was in, and I was turning right into that road. And the temporary traffic light was kind of level with me.
Yes.
And I was so frustrated that I was going to be late that I just went, basically.
Okay. Now, through a red light?
Well, I didn't technically go through a red light because I was level. I was level with it as I turned right. Yeah. So technically, I didn't go through it. Do you think that would have a camera on it?
Yeah, most of them do. Most of them do have a camera, because also the most dangerous place to speed is when you get one of those temporary 50-mile-an-hour things on the motorway.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so many cameras, and not just the start and end. They have the average speed cameras, which are yellow. You can spot them. They have other sorts of cameras on lights and things like that.
But this
very
is literally
dangerous.
It's a tiny side road round the back of Southwark Station. Why on earth would they put a camera on a red light there?
I don't know. I came past Southwark Station tonight, so I didn't really see that. I came past...
Well, it's kind of off to the side. It's down... You know where the Christmas party was? It's still down there.
Oh, I know.
Down that way.
Yeah. Well, that's not Southwark Station, is it? Oh, yeah,
well,
I suppose it is.
Just by. I was just giving a vague reference point.
Yeah, I suppose... Oh, talking about Christmas party, by the way. Right. Now, did you tell me the other day when we left Birmingham you had an alcohol-free cider?
I did.
What on earth is that all about?
Well, it was because I was driving.
Why would you want one of those?
Well, it's because I was driving, and I was driving back from Birmingham to London.
Well, I suppose that's...
I mean,
why didn't you have a cup of coffee?
Former colleagues. Well, because like you, I don't think pubs are the place to have a cup of coffee.
No, okay.
And I was kind of in the mood for something thirst-quenching. And I was thinking, should I have an orange juice and lemonade? Should I have, some... I actually asked for a ginger beer, because I wanted a ginger beer, not an alcoholic one, just a non-alcoholic one. He said, I haven't got any ginger beer, but I've got this non-alcoholic cider. And it was really good.
Really?
He poured it in a big glass with ice and...
so it's like apple cider.
It was a pear-flavoured one. It was really good, actually.
Okay, because the reason I mention that is that, again, doing my research now, and I do on drinks and pubs and all that.
Yeah, of course. Well, you have to go to many of them to check them all out.
Absolutely. The British Beer and Pub Association produced a report saying that the strength of beers in this country has been going down now for 5 or 6 years and will continue to go down. So, for instance... Carlsberg have reduced the strength of its Skol Lager, get this, from 3% to 2.8%, OK?
And what difference does that make?
Well, it means it's weaker. It means you've got to drink more.
Well, yeah, but how much weaker, though? Well, it's 0.2%. It's not very much, is it?
No, well, as a percentage it is, because as a percentage it's 1/15, which is 6%. Yeah, 6.5%. Yeah, 6.5% weaker.
So if you were drinking that particular brand of lager to get tipsy, you would have to drink how many more cans of it?
Well, for every 10 cans you drunk, you'd have to drink another one.
Right.
11.
Right.
Now, also, Green King launched a new product, Tolly English Ale, 2.8%. Now, I mean, I drink beers, and I sometimes look at the strength of them. The average strength of a beer is about 4.1, 4.2%.
It's about 4, isn't it? Yeah.
So who would drink a 2.8% beer? That's almost like having an alcohol-free beer. That, to me, is rubbish. The only reason that people drink is to get intoxicated.
That's not true.
They don't drink because of the taste of the stuff they're drinking.
True.
No, it is true.
Well, I discovered...
It is true. It's absolutely true.
I mean, not everybody drinks to get bladdered. That has to be...
I didn't say bladdered, I said the intoxication effect of having a couple of beers. It strengthens you. You feel, I have fibre in my body, it's wheat and hops, and I feel better about myself.
That's called being drunk.
No, it's not called being drunk at all. It's being fortified.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the word I'm looking for, fortified. And if you start weakening drinks like this, to me it's a bit of a contract. There's a bet the price of the beer doesn't go down.
No.
Just because they put
they're basically
less
watering,
alcohol
they're
in
basically watering it down, aren't they? That's what they're doing.
Well, they are.
I've seen the time, by the way.
There's another one here. Hang on a sec. A beer sold at 4.42% has gone down to 4.14%. I mean, that's a third of a percentage. You know, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's
I
huge.
don't think people are going to notice. But meanwhile, we've got lots more to do. Some release coming up. We've got Porkyvision coming up as well.
Yeah,
we're going to talk much more about.
What about Katie Price being pictured with the Duchess of Cornwall?
I know.
I mean, she's reached respectability now. This was at Cheltenham, of course.
Yeah, well, everyone goes to Cheltenham, don't they?
Everyone's Cheltenham as a great leveller in society.
We're going to talk some more about Cheltenham coming up as well. This is Talk Sport.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
One of my favourite Rolling Stone songs, that is, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Do you not like it?
Well, I didn't know it was a Rolling Stones song. It's not one of my favourite Rolling Stones songs. No, it's
not on their greatest hits.
It's a slow little ballad. It's like that ridiculous one they did. Oh, little red rooster, are you coming home to me?
I think you got the wrong lyrics there. No, but What Waltzes is from Sticky Fingers, one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yeah, well, you say that, but I mean...
I know it's not on your greatest hits collection.
The Little Red Rooster was supposed to be some classic blues track, sung by some guy called...
Yeah, Blind Willie somebody or other.
Yeah, that's right, some Boxcar Willie or something like that. No, what I was going to say is, on the Rolling Stones thing, right, I was talking to Monsieur Brazil Sassoir, yesterday morning.
Oh, yeah, you did the papers, didn't you?
Yeah, and I told him that, you see, the Times had a headline, Ruby Tuesday's off the agenda, because he fell off the last horse. Right. It didn't make, because they didn't have a picture of the last horse falling. They had a picture of the third horse winning,
really?
You see what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so it was incongruous. You know what incongruous means,
I do.
And so I said to Al, well, the Ruby Tuesday... And then I said to Al, of course, Ruby Tuesday was Melanie, Al. And,
Melanie?
Yeah, Melanie sung Ruby Tuesday. Yeah. And he agreed with me. But
it was a Rolling Stones song, though.
Well, yeah, but she did a cover version in 1970, which actually got higher up the charts than the Stones, because on the Stones, it was only on an LP
it was just a track,
called
High Tide and Green Grass.
No, Through the Past Darkly.
Oh, okay.
Through the Past Darkly.
Through a Glass Darkly, wasn't it?
No, Through the Past Darkly.
Was it?
Yeah, Through the Past
Sure?
Darkly. I'm certain. I know these things. Right. I'm an expert on 1960s music, as you'll find out tomorrow night when you test me on John Lennon.
You on John Lennon,
and but anyway, the point of the story is the horses. Now, what are we talking about Cheltenham for?
Well, because Cheltenham's on. It's the Cheltenham Festival.
Yes, I know, but what are we going to talk about?
I wanted to point out that, once again, your theories about AP McCoy, great as he is, seem to be coming true. He hasn't won again in 2 days.
I am not putting... you couldn't possibly criticise AP McCoy, a sportsman of his massive renown and success. All I'm saying is that going to Cheltenham for the last 15 years, which you have done, usually in the company of Brazil or yourself last year or whatever, and AP McCoy is not spoken about in revered terms. The people who are spoken about are Ruby Walsh,
his trainer, presumably.
Willie Mullins, obviously. Yeah. Mick Fitzgerald was always talked about for years and years and years,
Frankie Dettori's horse won yesterday.
Frankie Dettori's now a breeder. Yeah. His horse won yesterday. The lad who, pardon my ignorance, but the lad who won... Colotti's horse to 3 consecutive victories in the Gold Cup. The Silver Horse.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Best mate. Yeah. Best mate and all that kind of stuff. These are all legends. Yeah. Best mate.
Yeah, but this is meant to be. I mean, on Tuesday morning, the morning of the start of the festival, it was AP McCoy all over the front of the Racing Post.
Well, because
it was all about this is his last time. It's going to be very emotional. They've got a race dedicated to him, named after him and all that. It'd be terrible if he doesn't win anything.
I urge caution. I said, Ruby Walsh is the guy. I mean, particularly as people have been saying for 10 days before the meet, meeting, Ruby Walsh could win 4 races on day one. He very nearly did. After I told everybody the night before, he probably won't. But anyway, no, you're right about that. And it's a great meeting. It's halfway through now. Is it on Saturday as well? Is it a 5-day meeting?
I don't know.
Interesting, because I've been invited down on Friday.
Have you?
But let me tell you this, right?
That's Gold Cup Day, right?
That's Gold Cup Day. Let me tell you this.
Go on, tell
when
me.
we went last October, on the day of the Paddy Power Gold Cup, was it?
I think it was.
That's right, yeah. We booked ahead and got ourselves first-class tickets because, you know, the crowds go to Cheltenham.
Even though having booked first class, what you didn't tell me was that we had to take a train that didn't have any first class.
It was like a cattle truck.
And we had to stand next to that guy with all the tattoos and the bike.
It was like a cattle truck. That was on...
I was truly shocked by that.
Well, I was shocked, but that was on the second part of the journey from Swindon.
But except on the way back, we didn't have to do that.
No. Well, again, I said to my able assistants, you know, can you get me a train up there that goes straight there?
Right.
And she said, well, no,
Couldn't
because
be
the 10 o'clock train changes at Swindon. I said, right. But anyway, the 10 o'clock train changing at Swindon, coming back at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, was going to be £170.
Right.
Now, when you and I went there, it was £120.
Right.
But this is Gold Cup Day. But that was 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
I said, look, I'm going to have to get there a bit earlier. I'm going to try and do a slot with Andy and Paul on Hawksby Jacobs. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, guess what?
How much?
£100 more. £270.
That's outrageous.
£270.
You see, that's what's
and
wrong
that's
with
advanced
this country.
booking. I mean, that to me is disgraceful.
You know, sorry to harp on about driving, but I mean, one of the reasons why it's so frustrating to drive in London now is because they're trying to force everybody onto public transport.
Oh, it's awful.
And, you know, people can't go on public transport with those kind of money.
It's awful.
The kind of money that you're expected to pay, for example, to go backwards and forwards. My daughter's coming down because her boyfriend's birthday on Sunday, right? Down at Sussex. I had to say to her, look, I don't even know if the trains are running.
No.
Because on Sundays sometimes they're not.
No, they don't. They don't.
And you don't know until Sunday whether they're running.
Down in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, you can often be stranded on a Sunday because the trains go out as far as somewhere like Sutton, which is just or Epsom, just the edge of the what you'd call the metropolis.
Yeah,
and
the conurbation.
They don't go any further.
And then you have to get a bus.
Yeah, exactly. And these buses are... I mean, first of all, you can never find the bus. Don't know where the bus stop is. When you get on it, it goes on some weird route that you've never been on before, and you can get lost.
And it takes twice as long.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of tweets to read out to you.
Right.
Ian says the number Bell used to call Watson was 221.
221? How do you know that?
I wonder why it was that.
I don't know, but that's very good of you. Thank you very much indeed.
And then it says it was called... Gary in Glasgow says it was called a party line. The shared line.
Party line, that was the one.
Was it a party line?
Yeah, it was a party line, yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Here, let me tell you something else about the phones. I did a bit of research on them, OK. The word telephone was first used by Francois Saudray in 1828 for a musical signalling system, right?
Yeah.
The number of mobile phones in the world overtook the number of people in 2014.
Right.
How about that?
That's astonishing, isn't
And guess how many mobile phones were stolen between... June 2012 and June 2013 in England and Wales.
In England and Wales?
Yes.
I would say 20,000.
742,000.
What?
Which was one every 43 seconds.
I thought the stealing of mobile phones had gone down a bit, actually.
No, apparently, well, they might have gone down since then, but that was the
What do you
peak
do
of
with
it.
your old phones, by the way?
Do you know what? I found them all over the house.
Yeah.
I constantly find them all over the house.
You know there's a charity you can send them to.
Stick them in.
Yeah.
There's also...
I tend not to do that.
No, I don't either, to be honest. In fact, there was a young lady here whose phone got nicked, and I heard about it, and I said, well, I wonder if I can help. And I went home that evening, and I found an old phone, but it wasn't that old.
Right.
It was a phone somebody had given me on some job I was on. I'd never even taken it out of the box, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I gave it to her, and it charged it up, and it worked.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm very reluctant to swap phones, because it takes me so long to learn how to use them these days. I am very, very reluctant. Talking about charities...
It's been pointed out to me that the young lady in question
Yeah.
is the same young woman that came to the Hen and Chickens. Is that right?
Huh? No. This is I would say, a senior member of the administrative staff at TalkSport.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
yeah, no problem about that at all. Talking about...
You said the time, by the way.
Yeah, well, don't worry about that. Let me just tell you something else as well. You know, you said that people put these phones in boxes or something, do they, to give them away? Is that right?
Well, I mean,
For charity?
there's a website and you can send your old phone there
Yeah.
and they somehow do something with it and save and make money
Yeah.
for charity. But,
Yeah.
but the problem is, I once actually had to post a phone back to somebody because it wasn't working.
Yes.
It wasn't my phone, it was somebody else's. And, you know, they put you through a whole rigmarole.
What are you posting other people's phones around for?
Well, it was a member of my family, shall we say.
Oh, I see. Well,
whose name I
you
don't wish to reveal.
OK, well,
I was asked to go to the post office on her behalf.
You usually don't say it's somebody else's phone. You usually say, my wife's phone or my
it's not my wife's phone.
Or my son's phone. All right. So the mother of my children's phone then.
Well, I could have said that, but it's just a bit cumbersome, isn't it?
You don't have much affection in your
cumbersome.
life, do you?
Anyway, she doesn't like me to give away details of her personal life.
Oh, gosh, she's got a phone. Oh, wow. She's a real, superstar, this woman.
Well, anyway, here's the point.
She got a handbag as well.
I'm not telling you. I'm not able to reveal that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I put the phones in a jiffy bag. Right? I go to the post office.
Yeah, I know jiffy bags.
And they said, "I'm terribly sorry, sir. We've got these new regulations." They produced this piece of paper which said it must be in a box.
Oh yeah.
Because apparently it can go on fire.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
And I'm like, well, what difference does it make if it's in a box, if it goes on fire?
Cardboard box or squashy jiffy bag.
Yeah, but if it's going to go on fire, then, you better put it in a metal casket, hadn't you?
Well, they do, have these, like, semi-metallic type things you put them in now.
Things?
Yeah, they do.
What's a semi-metallic type thing?
Well, it's supposed to be a sort of fireproof thing.
All I know is
the sort of thing an astronaut would wear.
All I know was I said, well, I haven't got a box, and I'm thinking this is ridiculous.
You should have got one in the post office.
I'm going to walk out of here and have to go and buy a box.
They sell boxes in the post office.
This guy didn't sell boxes, but he found me a box. And he said, "Oh, don't worry, you can have this one."
The old shoe box or something.
What a load of ridiculous rules.
It is rubbish.
Anyway,
what I'm saying is, where you put the phones for charity, right? Where you put the phones for charity, you can now put shoes. So those filthy old shoes of yours that you've never, ever cleaned.
Yeah, I'm going to throw them out, actually.
Well, good. Well, go and find one of these plastic bins where you put your old shoes in.
It's called a recycling
God knows who'd want to wear
centre.
your old shoes. I mean, a tramp wouldn't be seen dead in your old shoes. But apparently,
maybe you'd like them.
Apparently, they can recycle them.
Maybe you'd like them. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two mics. We're going to Australia next.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport.
Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two mics. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. It's time now to speak to our very much alive and well Australian correspondent.
Come on, spit it out, man.
Sandra Lee.
Of course, Sandra's alive and well.
I was going to, because we haven't spoken to her for a long time. I was just concerned that people might wonder what happened to her. Sandra, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike, and other Mike. I am indeed alive and well.
Excellent. That's very good.
It sounds like you're in a very windy place, though. Where are you?
I'm actually in a car using a hands-free speaker, driving my husband to the physiotherapist.
Oh, excellent. You haven't seen any mad, rampaging camels running about anywhere, have you, while you've been driving around?
No, they're not in Sydney. They're only out in the outback.
Yeah, that's right, in Western Australia. But they are, apparently they've all gone mad. They've got no water, and they're going to trample a lot of people to death if they're not corralled. Sandra, it's lovely to speak to you, and please send our best wishes to your husband. Hope the physio goes well. Can be a real problem, the old physio. Now,
it's not a very nice thing to say.
What do you mean?
Well, why do you say it's not? It could be a problem.
Well, it always is a problem with physiotherapy because it's an inexact science, but we'll get to that later. Now, what I was going to talk to you about, Sandra, was we've got a fantastic new show over here, and it's called Abandoned, and it's all about the first transportees to be transported over Australia, Botany Bay and all that, and I've seen the first episode. It's absolutely riveting in its brutality and what people went through to establish your great country. Are you aware of it?
Well, we were aware of it when it was being filmed down here last year at the Manly Dam, and they spent 7 weeks only to shoot that, which was pretty amazing considering, how big it is. And It was a BBC joint production with an Australian crew, and it's not going to be shown here for about 3 or 4 months, I believe.
Oh, OK. Well, listen, I can tell you all about it.
Don't give away what
happens
worry. Then. I mean, Porky does this thing every week where he gives away the plot of a show that you haven't seen yet. So don't let him do that. He'll be talking about it a little bit later on.
But I can tell you it is brutal. Women who've been sentenced to flogging, 25 lashes, men who've been hanged because, they've stolen somebody else's food, all this kind. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. And it's no wonder
don't give it all away.
You are a hardy bunch of people because this is what happens. But do you remember, Sandra, when we all used to work in New York, there used to be restaurants there which, told you the history of America and all that. And half these people who were transported from this country to Australia ended up getting their freedom and going to America and becoming the governor of all the sort of states in the South.
That's right, they did. They, well, as you said, Australians are adventurous and hardy. They like to go places.
Well, there's an amazing story I saw this week, Mike. I don't know whether you saw this, about a guy called Reg Spears.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently found himself penniless in London in 1964.
It's a long time ago.
Right? And he was a champion javelin thrower, OK?
Oh,
now, he didn't know how else he was going to manage to get home to Australia for his daughter's birthday and to see his wife. So guess what he did? He decided to post himself back to Australia in a wooden box.
Oh.
You heard this story, Sandra?
I have, Mike, and it's actually, he would be a classic example of what we call down under a larrikin.
You're absolutely right, but I mean, how did he make it back? I mean, didn't customs find him in the box, or didn't he freeze to death in the cargo part of a plane or something?
Yeah, he was very lucky. In fact, at that time when he did it in 1964, which was before I was born, he was in a cargo hold, but those cargo holds then were pressurised.
Yeah.
So there was no problem of him freezing to death or being suffocating to death.
Yeah. It's an amazing story, right? He had a 63-hour journey across 3 continents in which he was delayed in fog for 24 hours, dropped from a forklift and almost suffered dehydration after being left on a scorching tarmac in Bombay for hours.
Sounds...
Anyway, there's a new book coming out about that. It'd make a good movie. Maybe you could post yourself somewhere.
Maybe.
Why don't you post yourself to Kiev for the game next week?
Why don't you just post yourself full stop and, we don't worry about it. Sandra, what is the reaction in the Southern Hemisphere to the pathetic efforts of the England cricket team in the World Cup?
Well, look, Mike, we don't gloat in Australia, but there has been quite a lot of smiling. Quite a lot of smiling going on.
Well, the worst insult that you can probably make to people here in this country, cricket-wise, is that English cricket is now so far down the pecking order that it's actually no great fun to poke fun anymore at England because they're so useless.
Yeah, useless.
Yeah, it's a bit like sort of clubbing baby seals, isn't it, really?
It is.
Yeah,
but I mean, your husband would, I presume, be an English cricket fan, would he not? I mean, he must be beside himself with embarrassment walking around.
Well, I think he now calls himself an Aussie, so he's firmly on the side of the Australians, and probably for good reason, I'd say.
Yeah, I can't blame him in that respect. And the other thing I found out since we last spoke to you, Sandra, is, we have this incredible sort of show, which I think is famous worldwide, about I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of the Jungle. And it's
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Get Me Out of Here, is it? Yeah, that's right. But it's in the jungle, isn't it? I thought that was, some brilliant British invention where we flew all these people to... But what I found out is that Britain's only one of about 20 countries that uses the same facility and location all the year round.
That's right, and I think, if I'm right, it's in Australia.
Yes, it is. That's what I'm saying. They'll come over there, and we thought, we've set this thing up on the other side of the world, and these people will be disorientating and all that. But apparently, people from Israel and Greece and Russia and everything all turn in there, and it's now a major TV sort of industry.
It's like a sort of mobile studio, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's not, because it's a jungle, and you can't mobilise a jungle.
Not a jungle.
You can't move a jungle around.
They've made you believe it's a jungle.
It is a jungle.
It's not a jungle at all.
It is a jungle.
It's a controlled environment.
I know somebody who's been in it, and she told me, Joe Cole's wife, actually, Kelly, and she said it is a jungle, and it's terrifying. I mean, I tell you what, I bet you not many Australians, Sandra, would put all the sort of stuff in their mouth that these weirdos do in the jungle. I mean, I wouldn't put snails in my mouth and scorpions and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't at all. Now, finally, Sandra, we've got to ask you about the Eurovision Song Contest, because for some bizarre reason, it's the 60th anniversary, and Australia have been invited to take part. I can't imagine why. Have you heard Australia's song yet?
We haven't heard the song yet, and unlike a lot of countries where the song is voted on, we're just getting the song given to our singer, who is actually a really famous singer, so it's not like he needs a break. It's not going to be like, when ABBA went on and did Waterloo, it was the beginning of their huge international fame.
Yeah, is he the sort of Australian equivalent of Cliff Richard?
Probably, yeah. You could say he's about...
I thought you were going to say who's Cliff Richard then, but anyway.
And you know what else we're going to do? Next week, we're going to go to the 30th anniversary of the Neighbours show being broadcast.
We are, been invited.
So Porky and I are going to have to bone up on Neighbours. How big is that still in Australia?
Look, it's not as big as what it was once in the 80s and the 90s, but it still has an absolute massive fan base.
Wow.
And it really is. It's literally the training ground for some of the biggest actresses and actors that Australia has put out.
Golly, that's great. And is Kylie Minogue still around in Australia, or is she just everywhere else in the world now?
What do you mean?
She's mostly in.
What do you mean she's still
England.
around?
No, because she spends most of the time in, Europe and America
that's
and all
why
that.
She lives here.
No, she's Australian. You fool. I'm trying to say she's still working in Australia.
Rubbish. What do you think? Sandra's got some kind of book? Have you got some kind of book where you keep track of all Australian citizens and where they go and what they do?
Sandra was about to answer the question. You kept interrupting her.
You still think she's standing upside down on the other side of the world, don't you?
No. Thank you, Sandra. Please, could you answer that question for us? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah.
In fact, she does live in England, and she's back down under at the moment because they're filming. Her and her sister Danny are taking part in another singing contest show on which they are the judges with those two, Benji and the other Madden boy from America.
Oh, right, OK. Well, is that the equivalent of sort of, The Voice or something like that?
I guess it will be,
Yeah, I see, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Great.
It comes as a great surprise, Sandra, to Mr. Parry that all these TV shows are exactly the same in every part of the world.
Exactly, yeah.
They're just called something different.
It does, yeah.
Extraordinary. Anyway, listen, good luck to your hubby, and
Indeed.
Very nice to talk to you again, Sandra, and we'll speak soon.
Hope the physio goes
It's
well.
always my pleasure.
Yeah, and ours
Thank
as
you,
well.
Mike.
Take
and
it
ours
easy.
as well. Ta-da now.
Very much alive and well, Sandra Lee there.
Yeah.
Now,
you've been in for a bit of physio lately?
No, I've never needed any physio. The only time I needed physio,
you need a bit to me.
was when I broke my wrist playing football years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I had to wear a cast on my arm for about six or 7 weeks.
The worst thing about that is when you get an itch under the cast, isn't it?
Well, no, the worst thing about it was when I took the cast off and my arm had literally withered.
Yes, it does. It goes white and all sorts of things.
It looked like I was starving or something like that.
Yeah, and you have to build it up again.
And you had to build it up again. So I had to have one of those stress
I know all
balls.
about pain.
You know all about pain,
Yeah, I know
rubbish,
about pain,
do you?
yeah.
And the first time I tried to hit a golf ball, actually, it was very, very
could
painful.
have been a problem, yeah.
But that was the only time I really had any physio.
Yes.
Somebody was bending my arm backwards and forwards.
Yes.
I guess that means Kylie Minogue won't be at this Neighbours thing then, because obviously we were hoping that she might be.
Was she and Jason Donovan, the original cast,
was in it,
were they?
yeah.
I suppose you're right, yeah.
And I met Danny Minogue once at one of those Pride of Britain things we used to do from America.
Well,
tiny woman.
She's a tiny woman.
I've never seen anyone so small.
But have you ever come across anybody who made a living, literally in a career, out of impersonating their sister, which is basically what she did. She just came along and said, Kylie's a singer.
I'm the other Minogue.
Yeah, I think I'll be a singer as well. And I think she enhanced herself a little bit with a bit of surgery and all that kind of stuff. And then, but I mean, I'm not knocking her. She did extremely well. She became a judge, didn't she, on one of those talent competitions?
I think she did,
yeah. Good luck to her, I say. Good luck to anybody who wants to develop a career.
You've been very magnanimous. You've got a new career to talk about.
I haven't actually done it yet, but it's something I'm planning.
Is it?
And it's a great plan. Believe me, it's a great plan. I mean, how many jobs can you have in a career? Well, I'm telling you,
you're going to go for another one. All right.
Yeah,
well, hold on to that thought, because it's that time of the night where we have to go and find out what's going on in other parts of the world. We've got Porkyvision to do as well in the next hour. We'll find out what Porky's new career is likely to be. We'll find out when the happiest time of your life is supposed to be as well. And there's loads more. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mics. Look out for a podcast on iTunes.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
For extra time, I'm Mike Graham, and he, of course, is Mike Parry. Got Dennis here, who's sent a tweet actually to Sandra Lee after that conversation we just had. He says he's always glad to hear you on the Two Mics, talking to her. He says, especially when they ask you a question but then interrupt you with the incorrect answer.
Well, you did that persistently for Sandra.
Didn't.
You did.
I did not.
You did. I was waiting for an answer from her, and you kept trying to give her the answer.
No.
You were oafish in your attitude to a rather special and lovely lady.
Yeah, and Ali says he's disappointed we didn't ask her for an iron ore update.
Well, I know all about the iron ore situation, so you don't need to.
Has anything changed this week?
Well, it's a dodgy situation. The price of iron ore on the world commodities markets is oscillating.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Jay says there are two things that are certain in life. One, you die. Two, you'll hear the words, I've done some research on this every night on the Two Mics.
Well, that's because I do. Exactly. Well. Amazing the number of people in Birmingham when we were on the stage show last week, which, by the way, folks, was a brilliant experience. Thank you all so much for coming along. And our road planner is at this very moment...
road planner?
Yeah, seeking and searching out new locations to come around the country.
We've got a road planner,
We've got a road planner, yes.
Excellent.
Don't worry about that. I'm looking after that.
Excellent.
And, well, what I was going to say was...
You were going to tell me about your new career.
In a minute. Well, what I just wanted to give you here was a couple of tweets here. Now, to impress ladies by asking about remotely related areas, showing them that he is well informed.
Hey?
This is Porky's new approach. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Remotely related? I don't know. And a new one here says, how come you two Mikes have never done the broadcaster questionnaire for TalkSport?
What's that?
I've no idea. Do we have a questionnaire?
What is the broadcaster questionnaire?
I don't know. Right.
What, is it one we're supposed to fill in?
I don't know. I suppose so. Now, one here says, has old MG won...
Apparently we've done it twice, I'm told.
Have we done it twice? Right, OK. We've done it twice.
Maybe they've just binned it. Maybe they've just binned it, decided not to use it.
Maybe it was just so good that they didn't want to publish it. Right, has old MG worn the brand new pair of wellies that you bought him for Christmas?
I haven't, no.
And they're also saying they haven't seen a picture of them. You're not ashamed of showing them.
Well, they're a bit too snug, to be honest.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah,
I didn't want to embarrass you. I don't really like the colour. I've got a pair of black wellies, which is the one I wear. Ones I wear.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be seen wearing the ridiculously rather light-coloured ones.
Yeah, it says here, ask Sandra about what she thinks about Australia competing in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well,
That was the question you wouldn't let her answer.
What do you mean I wouldn't let her answer?
No, she had terrible trouble getting that one out.
She told us that there was the guy was who was going to be doing it was a well-established singer, but I had a sense that she didn't know who that was.
Okay.
So I didn't want to press her on the name.
Okay, let me tell you this. It's Russell, isn't it, doing the weather reports tonight, is he?
The weather?
Yeah.
Well, he's doing the news as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he's doing...
Russell Hargreaves.
Part of it's the weather, isn't it?
Yeah, he does the weather, yeah.
Well, correspondent down in Devon says, tell Russ it's raining down here, and he keeps saying it's dry. So right, Russ, get on the case, mate, will you, please?
Yeah, there was meant to be rain everywhere, actually, over the last one. Anyway, let's get on to this new career plan of yours.
Now, listen, we have many strings to our bow, do we not?
We do, yeah.
No, we work in this
We have many
studio.
bows.
We work in the studio.
Yeah.
We go on stage shows like Birmingham, brilliant
we
experiences.
Head and chickens.
Head and chickens, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe new venues coming up and all
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff, right? We consult for people when they want us to be consultants for them.
That's true, yeah. Amazingly, people will still occasionally ask our advice on stuff.
Yeah, that's right. We turn up at sort of first nights and things like that, don't we?
Bit of red carpet action next week.
Where is it?
It's at Café de Paris, I believe.
And what is it?
It's the Neighbours' 30th anniversary.
30th anniversary, and we've been invited along as representatives for TalkSport.
We have indeed.
Yeah, that's excellent, okay. Yeah. But, look, I've thought of something else that I can do because I read about the figures and thought that is me. Now, you're going to laugh a bit because you don't actually appreciate...
well, I'm not sure you've got any more time in your day, to be honest, to do anything else.
You don't appreciate the breadth of thought which I have towards these things. Now, I read that Lidl, and you know what they are. They're one
supermarket
of the supermarkets,
chain.
yeah.
Yes.
They have decided to get involved in their own underwear.
Hey?
Their own underwear.
Right.
Now,
their own brand.
Their own brand.
Yeah.
Now, I looked at this and I found out that David Beckham earned £28 million last year, and a large part of it was as an underwear model.
Yes.
A guy called David Gandy, who apparently is the world's top male model.
That's true, yeah, I've seen him.
Earned something like £7 million a year, and a lot of that was as an underwear model.
Yes.
I feel I should volunteer to be Lidl's...
I can't even wait for you to finish the sentence.
Underwear model.
Don't be ridiculous.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand.
Do not be preposterous.
What I'm saying is, you see, you never think these things through. That okay, so if this guy called David Gandy, apparently a very handsome-looking chap, I've got a picture of him here somewhere.
He is very handsome. He's got one of those very rippled. Stomachs.
Yeah, that's right. And David Beckham, of course, very handsome man according to all the women I know, which I'll take as read.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, surely Lidl should go for the market which would get them the middle-aged man buying... what are you laughing at?
Bargain briefs in pink. Not only do I not want to see you in your underwear, I don't want to see you in their underwear. I don't want to see you in anybody's underwear.
No. What I'm saying is, I found a gap in the market. It's all very well.
What sort of money do you think you could charge?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I
don't think it's in the millions, is it?
I think I can claim to be a personality, you know what I mean? I think,
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, claim to be a personality. I think that I'm known as one of the two Mikes.
You haven't really got the physique for it, though.
I think I have, because don't you understand? Most sort of men hovering around, gentle middle age and all that kind of stuff are the same shape as me. Now, Lidl would be able to boost their sales and nick a niche corner of the market if instead of going after young men who like wearing rather tight underpants to extenuate the curves of their genitalia, right? Genitalia. Okay. What they really need is a middle-aged man who is not that bothered about,
Well, I mean, I can see
thrusting the angles of his body around and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
I can see the merits of where you're going with it, but I can't imagine you selling this to the honchos at Lidl's and saying, this
that's up to me.
This is where you have to go.
That's up to me. I mean, look, I wouldn't, for instance, want to model Y-fronts, which I think are the most boring item of clothing ever made, really.
I'm not sure they would even make those.
Did you ever wear Y-fronts?
When I was a kid, yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I hated them from day
one.
When
you were a child?
Hipsters. I always.
Hipsters? What?
Yeah.
From what age?
Oh, from about 5 or 6. What are you laughing at?
Why would you wear underwear?
I always wanted to be trendy. I always wanted to be trendy.
Did your mother not buy you that horrible chain underwear?
No, don't remember anything like that.
Like a chain vest.
Oh no, I don't think anything like that. No. No, I like to be sort of trendy. So I always, if I.
So now we get a bigger picture. So collector of gold bars, opener of bank account.
I wasn't
at the age of 10.
Bars. They were Krugerrands.
And hipster underwear from the age of 5.
Yeah, and if I couldn't find any hipster underwear, I used to wear my swimming trunks instead.
Really?
Yeah, I used to like my swimming trunks. And all I'm saying is that you might say, well, you don't have an appealing figure. I admit I haven't got an appealing figure if they're trying to attract, young men in their early 20s and their girlfriends who want their chaps to look good.
Well, the
sexy
girlfriends are not going to be
decent.
looking at pictures of you, are they? Let's face it.
Well, hang on. Don't you think middle-aged women have boyfriends?
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
But they don't go after them because of the way they look generally.
I think they do. I think there's a big attraction there. And anyway, I think that
you could say that you could capture the married women's market, couldn't you?
No. You see, you're being
due to your great area of expertise.
Again. What I'm saying is that it wouldn't just be whether I looked, quotes, sexy. It would be whether I had, impact. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at that picture. Oh, that has impact. Oh, that man's got character in his face. Oh, that man, gives an air of authority to proceedings and all that kind of stuff. Don't you understand that?
You might be delighted to know
that
I have looked in the archives of the two Mike's pictures and I found a picture of you modelling what would be described, I suppose, as an undergarment.
Don't be ridiculous.
And I've just tweeted it out. There, you can have a look. That was taken a long time ago when we did the...
oh, no, that was a joke. That was somebody sent in a free T-shirt, but it was 6 sizes too small.
No, it was one of these... No, it was like a thinning, a slimming undergarment.
Oh, was it a rugby shirt?
Well, no, it was like
I think it was a rugby shirt, actually, but it's far too small for me. I only tried it on for a joke, and then, of course,
but you could
somebody
use this
stole a picture.
When you present your portfolio to Lidl's, you could have a look. Yeah, Please do have a look at the picture and let us know what you think. Could Porky have a new career?
There's a guy here called Calvin Harris, right? He's an underwear model. Born in Dumfries, despite the name Calvin Harris, right?
Yeah, he's a massive musical superstar.
£43 million. Including some percentage earnings from modelling underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big market, man. There's a big market. This could be the answer to our problems.
It could be, yeah.
Funding the next two Mike's tour around Britain.
As long as you don't rope me into it. Maybe you could model something on the stage next time we do a live show.
Yeah.
The mind boggles. He is Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast out soon. Very soon as well. It's time for Porkyvision. This is TalkSport.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
Talk Sport.
The guy that lost the court case to Marvin Gaye's family the other day.
Good for him.
Now, I've got a few tweets for you on the subject of that picture I just put out.
Oh, yeah,
Paul says, you're great, Porky, but please don't model underwear.
Why not?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious if you look at the picture.
No.
Here's one from Sujan who says, married women will go crazy if they see Porky.
Yep.
And Ali says, the next right said Fred, I'm too sexy for my shirt.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
And then Pay says, he says he's laughing out loud. Looks like a tattoo. It's that tight.
What's that? The shirt? Yeah, but
sort of Under Armour thing you're wearing.
I didn't wear that realistically, did I? I didn't wear it realistically. I wore it because it was something that was sent to us, and I put it on and sort of modelled it. Now tell me this. Can you remember what you're doing when you were 34?
I can remember what I was doing when I was 34. It was 1994. And I was working for the Daily Express in London.
Oh, yes.
And I'd just finished my assignment in Bosnia, I think it was.
Right.
And I'd just been made something like assistant features editor or something like that.
I see.
So I was clambering my way up the greasy pole.
Bum desk job.
Well, no, because that's what happens when you finished having a very distinguished career as a reporter.
That's true.
And you move into the executive offices.
It's true, but you have to have a distinguished career as a reporter before you get to that stage.
As I say, I just finished my tour of duty in a war zone, which I don't believe you ever did.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, so getting bombed by the Americans
that wasn't
in
a war
Libya.
zone.
Oh, so being in the Sinai Desert during the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was not a war zone,
Well, that might count.
Yeah, well, exactly, it might count, considering there were shells being fired at me from a tank on the top of the Golan Heights.
There was no war zone in Libya.
I think that does count, okay?
All right, but there was no war zone in Libya.
In the Baku Valley, right? In the Baku Valley.
The Baku Valley.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. The blinking tanks lining up to pick me off on the top of the hill.
You think that because you were in the war zone, they were looking at you?
Yeah, well, they were.
That's but that was a proper war where people knew who the enemy was and you knew who was engaging with whom. The problem with Bosnia was you didn't know who the enemy was, and generally speaking, depending on how much Slivovitz anybody drank, you could get shot dead at any time.
Do you remember when we first started working in newspapers, you in America and me in this country? Yeah. We were still working alongside people who were literally legendary correspondents from the Vietnam War.
That's right.
And I mean, these guys were actually, living among the Viet Cong and all this kind of stuff. I mean,
I remember Dick Oliver used to tell a story about Dan Rather, who made his name in Vietnam by becoming the sort of CBS golden boy and then came back and became this sort of £8 million a year anchorman.
That's right.
And he said never actually went anywhere. No, and they used to film him from the bottom of his legs so that it looked as though you could see palm trees and helicopters in the background. But he shot everything from the lawn of his hotel in Saigon.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And he never actually went out on any missions.
Like that. When I did Israel about 3 times. Yeah. And we used to stay in a hotel in Jerusalem called the American Colony.
Oh,
That's
yes,
what it was called,
hotel,
American Colony Hotel.
Yeah. Did they not blow that up a few times?
I don't think it did. It was a really cosmopolitan international hotel. If you see what I mean. It wasn't recognised as an American hotel.
Oh, okay.
It was just called the American Colony.
Yeah.
But the one that got blown up all the time was the one that we used to have to stay in Beirut, which had holes in the wall.
Right.
Literally, if you wanted a room, you just had to take a room. There was usually a hole in the wall where a shell had come through.
Right.
I've forgotten what it's called.
Well, as long as it had a mini bar, so you should be quite happy.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a legendary hotel. You didn't need any central heating or anything. It was always hot. But holes in the wall. No, that's true. But no, again, there were correspondents there from all over. I remember there was a guy there from the Baltimore Sun, and he never moved out of the American Colony. In those days, the Baltimore Sun was like an authoritative paper.
Quite a big paper,
It's just outside Washington, D.C., isn't it? And he never went anywhere. And I was going out daily with the Israeli Defence Forces, the IDF, going up into these bomb war zones, all that kind of. And I just came back, told them everything. That was the way it worked. But anyway,
so you were responsible for giving all these people their news reports, were you?
I was to a large extent. They made their careers. But the reason I asked is because a new report says the age of 34 is the happiest time of your life. Right. It says it's when you should have settled into married life, you should have bought your first house, you should have been planning your children's education, you should be secure in your job. Do all those tick boxes for you?
Well, funnily enough, because I had a slightly unorthodox life, I'd become very successful in my 20s, you see. So I'd already bought my first house in New York City.
The one you gave away,
which I believe you were living in when I was 34.
Yeah, you had to,
so shortly before,
you had to abandon it.
Well, I had to abandon it because you moved out and reneged on your lease.
No, you had to abandon it because you
moved to Washington.
Because
no, you went to Washington.
Overtook you.
No, you went to Washington after promising to live there.
Can you answer the question?
Never mind anyway.
Can you answer the question?
I'd already
At 34, were you delightfully happy with the life?
I was very happy with my life. I think I was already. I'd already had one a child, my daughter. My son was yet to be born. He was born in 1995, so the following year. And I think I had quite an active social life at that time as well.
Oh yes, that means that you were cheating on your wife and you were.
Well, that's a very strong way to put it.
No, you're parading around Fleet Street like some sort of dandy. And,
not a dandy, no. But
trying to impress members of the female sex that you were a highfalutin executive in the newspaper industry.
Well,
I know about you.
I was fighting them off, actually.
Fighting them off. I shouldn't think you are.
What were you doing when you were 34 then?
What year was it? 34.
No, try not to trip yourself up.
Hang on.
So for you, that would have been about 1983, right?
No. 56 plus 34 is 2000.
Yeah.
Is that year 2000? Yeah, it is year 2000. I think I was... No, it's year 1990.
No, you're 10 years out.
Oh, 1990, is it?
Yeah.
1990. I think I'd returned to America as the American editor of the Daily Express.
No, you hadn't.
And yes, I had.
That's rubbish.
And I
didn't move there until 1992.
No. I think
we crossed paths.
Oh, well, 1990.
You don't even know what you were doing, do you?
I know what I did in 1990.
What did
we
you
should
do?
all know. I went to the World Cup in Italy.
Right.
Of course I did, and I stayed in Sardinia. Well, no, I mean, I was the news editor of the Daily Express,
right.
so I was...
Were you planning your children's education?
I tell you what happened when I was...
You can feel free to answer that question.
No, I wasn't, because I haven't got any children.
Right.
You fool. I tell you what happened in Italy. It was in Sardinia.
Yeah.
And I went there. I took 3 weeks holiday.
Was this not quite a controversial World Cup as well?
Well, it's controversial in the sense the England fans... The England were posted to Sardinia to keep the fans there.
Yeah, but was there not some scandal around some of the players as
well? I'm about to tell you what happened. It was the World Cup in which Paul Gascoigne came to prominence, of course, because we got to the semi-final, the tears, Italia 90 and all that.
Yeah.
But what happened was on Sardinia... I wasn't actually working there. I'd taken 3 weeks holiday and I was going to have a leisurely 3 weeks watching the games.
And your job back home was what? News editor of the Daily Express?
News editor of the Daily Express. So my deputy took over. But of course, I had a pool of reporters and sports reporters on Sardinia doing all the stuff. So you would have been
still ordering them around even though you were on holiday?
Well, yes, because I like to do that. Yeah. You know, it makes me feel at home.
It's self-important.
So, yes. Well, no, not self-important, but, you know, having a grip on things, not letting it slide even though I'm on holiday. So anyway, I get a phone call from one of the guys. I tell you what, it was Ian McKerran.
Oh, yeah,
the mole catcher. The mole catcher, that's right, yeah, Scottish boy. And he said, hello, Mr. Parry.
He hated you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, actually, yeah. But, I mean, you know, I can't be liked by everybody.
True.
Hello, Mr. Parry, it's Ian here. And what they were doing was they were chasing a girl called Isabella, who, according to a story written 2 days ago, had been romancing up to 5 members of the England football squad.
Dear me.
And
was she a local girl?
Oh, very much so. She was an Italian beauty, this one. But she worked for Italia 90, and she wore a fantastic blue outfit and used to meet and greet people at important events and all that kind of stuff. Now, the allegations about
giving more meaning to the Italian welcoming committee.
Yeah, exactly. The let's be straight here, because a lot of those players are still alive and all that.
Yeah, let's not name any names then.
Not only will we not name any names, a lot of the allegations were unfounded, apparently. But nevertheless, she was the hottest girl in the world at the time. Yeah. And McKerran rang up, Mr. Parry, we have tracked down Isabella. I said, that's brilliant. Where is she? She's in your hotel. And I was in a country hotel, right, way out in the middle of Sardinia.
And it's not a big place, Sardinia,
No, it's not that big. I said, right. And he said, I'm on my way. He said, but so's the rest of Fleet Street, so we need to nab her first. Right. I said, leave that to me, right? So I rushed downstairs. I was on my balcony at the time when I took the call, even though there were no mobile phones. It was a phone with a cable, you know. Hello, And
I suppose you weren't in the bar.
Well, I'm surprised I wasn't in the bar, but I think I had a couple of bottles of Pinot on the balcony or something like that, you know. Anyway, I go down, and eventually Isabella is actually at a stand near the swimming pool, you know, like an Italia 90.
Oh, so you recognised her?
No, I didn't recognise her. I asked her around and said, you know, hello, you know, I met somebody called Isabella.
Well, hadn't you seen a picture of her?
No, I hadn't seen a picture of her. No, I hadn't seen a picture of her. No, I hadn't got any papers out there. So I walked up to her, and anyway, I sort of sweet talked her for about 3 or 4 minutes. You know, to impress upon her
who she was,
who she was, and what a nice guy was.
Did you pretend you were not a newspaper man?
Of course, I'm an English tourist and all that kind of stuff. And I said, by the way, I said, you know, we've got a mutual friend. What? You know, and I said, well, I'm here for the football, and some of my friends are some of the England footballers. And she went, literally, you know. Really? And I said, look, I mean, and then I named a couple of them. So she goes running off, literally. And she was also having an affair with the manager of the hotel.
Blimey.
So she runs into his office, he runs out, he orders 2 guys to sort me out, and they're sort of grappling with me and all this kind of... And as all this is happening, I'm not joking, as all this is happening...
All the hacks arrive,
No, but guess who arrives first? The old Carabinieri.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Italian police.
Right.
So anyway, they get me and handcuff me.
Right.
And then, unfortunately, the Fleet Street hacks did arrive, but just as I was being led by my hair into the back of a police meat wagon.
Deary me.
You said the Daily Express, being arrested and carted away. It was horrendous.
Shocking.
I was kept for 2 days. They took my passport, and the Foreign Office and the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom had to intervene with the Italian Prime Minister to get me out of jail.
Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Here's Mike Porky Parry. I'm Mike Graham. There will be a podcast coming out, of course. More memories of Italian 90 perhaps coming up. But Porkyvision is next.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two mics. It is that time of the week when we delve into the world of television and try and figure out precisely what shows are worth watching and which ones are not worth watching. Mr. Parry has become probably the country's preeminent television reviewer, I would say.
I would say so.
Even when you don't necessarily watch the actual programme itself.
Well, of course I watch the programmes myself. I mean, what are you trying to get at? Well, you know, I also have insight into what's going on.
There's only so much time in the week.
Yeah. Now, Poldark, right? Because I've already mentioned... what was the other one called? Was it called Abandoned? Or
Banished, wasn't it?
Banished, that's right. Banished, yeah, that's right. That's what it's called. Now, that's
Somebody suggested if there was a show called Abandoned, you would assume it was about me.
Yeah, certainly
which
would.
I thought was very unfair.
About your dogs, actually. Yeah. But, no, let me tell you. We'll come to Banished in a minute, you know, although it's great stuff. But Poldark, right, now, you see, the thing is, I've watched a lot of these, so-called big-budget, spectacular history dramas.
Period dramas and all that.
Wolf Hall was just too complicated to be able to watch more than one episode of, to be honest. You know, it just moves so slowly. And the other one was Fortitude.
It was quite short, though, wasn't it, the Wolf Hall? It was only 6 episodes.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But, I mean, it was 6 tedious episodes, to be honest. And then Fortitude was about this place in the Arctic.
Yeah, you gave up on that. That sounded quite interesting, the way you described it.
No, everybody's going around having sex in warehouses, little boys climbing out of windows and running around in their bare feet.
And getting attacked by polar bears.
Getting attacked by polar bears, having their feet taken off because they got frostbite and all this kind of really weird time. And then in the middle of it all, somebody got murdered and, you know, all sort of weird things. I don't know. So is that
still going on, Fortitude?
I believe it is.
Right.
I think it's called New Fortitude now. I don't know why. I don't know why they changed the title. Maybe it's always called New Fortitude, you know. Anyway, look, Poldark. Now, what you didn't know, because this is the second time Poldark's been on TV. It was on years ago.
Well, when I mentioned this to you, right, before this week, because I said to you, what about Poldark? It's the big event of the week. You said to me, surely Poldark is one of those shows that only women watch because it's a kind of romance
that's right. I did.
Scenario. But it seems like you've changed your view now.
Well, I tell you, it was first on in 1977.
Yeah, I remember it. I never liked it then. I never watched it.
I never saw it. But listen, the reason why it works is because I, through my research, discovered that the whole plot of Poldark is based on Othello. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Othello, the Shakespeare play.
Yeah, I've heard of Othello.
About unrequited love.
Unrequited love.
Unrequited love, and people going away to fight wars, coming back to find their bird, or their girl, I should say, being snatched by somebody else,
right.
And then the love triangle and all this kind of stuff, right? This is exactly what happens here.
Well, it's a well-worn sort of storyline, isn't it?
But the original one was in Othello.
Was it?
Okay?
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
Who's the hero of Othello?
Othello. Yeah.
Can you name any of the other characters?
You don't need to.
Okay.
You don't need to. Right. So dominant is Othello in Othello that you don't really need to know about anybody else.
Okay.
Why? What were you going to say?
No, I was just asking you. Since you said you're such an expert on Othello.
Oh, you seem to know. So you know about Othello as well, do you?
I've certainly seen a play of Othello.
And who were the other characters?
Well, there's Iago, isn't he?
Who?
Iago. Isn't he in
Iago?
Iago.
He's
the bad guy.
Let's talk about Poldark, because this is what it's all about, okay?
You don't want to ask me any more about Othello?
No, thank you.
Okay.
So he comes home. First of all, the reason he was fighting the American War of Independence, 1777, was because he got into gambling debt and could have been hanged. Could have gone to the gallows.
I thought 1776 was the Independence Declaration, wasn't it?
What?
Wasn't it 1776, the Declaration of Independence?
Well, 1777...
What was he doing fighting the war a year later?
No. In 1777, America became an independent country.
Yeah.
Right? So that's when it was.
Right, okay.
It was around that time.
Around that time. Okay.
So what happens is he fights bravely in the woods in, looked to me like Connecticut, you know, against the marauding French who were hired by the Americans and all that kind of
Very
stuff.
Very complicated.
You know?
I didn't think there were any Americans at that time.
Well, there were like people chucking tea in the harbour in Boston and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, so anyway, eventually he comes home, but what a shock when he gets home. He's only 3 years. His dad's...
And he's come back to sort of west of England, right? Cornwall.
Oh, and Cornwall.
Yeah.
The scenery's utterly fantastic. I mean, it's as good as that TV series I keep going on about.
What, Coast?
No, Coast is good. No, but that's not always in Cornwall. No, the guy, what's his name?
Broadchurch.
No. That's
what
not
then?
Well,
it's
a TV series.
Well,
a very dar-faced detective who solves all the... And he's got 2 inspectors. One's a girl and one's a man. And Wycliffe.
Oh, Wycliffe, I haven't seen that.
But anyway, look...
Is that set in Cornwall, then?
And it's set in Cornwall,
is it? Okay.
Anyway, the point is, he comes back to find that his father's house is in rack and ruin. There's still a housekeeper and his wife there, but barely scratching a living. Few chickens running around. All his father's businesses have gone.
Right.
2 of the tin mines, which made his fortune, derelict, you know, all this kind of stuff.
And then there's sort of pirates and smugglers around as well.
No, that's Jamaica Inn. You're confused with the Jamaica Inn.
Right.
So, anyway, So then he gallops over to his uncle's place to find out, because his father's died, you see, while he's been away.
Okay.
See his uncle. His uncle's still going, but times are hard in Cornwall because the tin industry's collapsed. And guess what? Those filthy blighters, the Welsh, have stolen all the business for the tin industry.
I don't think you should completely write off the entire nation.
Well, no. I'm saying the Welsh... In the story, the filthy blighters, the Welsh, in 1700.
Okay.
I don't believe Welsh people are filthy blighters these
days. That's good, yeah, I'm glad.
No, I like the Welsh people. They're good people.
And also, you are, situationally related to the Welsh people.
Well, there must be some ancestry, I suppose.
Yeah,
anyway, so he gallops over to see his uncle to find out what's going on. And he walks into a family banquet to find that his girl, Elizabeth...
Who he left 3 years before.
He left 3 years before because he was taken away to the war and all that.
Yeah.
Is now betrothed to his cousin, who is the son of his uncle, right?
That would be annoying.
And so you get one of these fantastic, dramatic, you can see that her heart still lies with Poldark.
Yeah.
Poldark, by the way...
And also he's this very dashing figure, isn't he? Because
he's an
the women that I
extremely
spoke to
handsome guy.
about this say that he's amazing and this is why they watch the show, because he's this pin-up.
His name is Aidan Turner and he's Irish, right?
Yeah.
But he's incredibly handsome, apparently. I find it very difficult to tell whether or not handsome or not.
You've been talking about David Beckham and that guy, the other male model.
Yeah, but only because, they're male models. But as a heterosexual, when I look at a woman, I can tell she's beautiful or not.
Right.
When I look at a man, I can't. I don't know.
Why not?
People have weird faces, which other...
you can't tell whether you're good looking or not when you look in the mirror, can you?
I mean, for instance, Daniel Craig, I would have said, is a pretty ugly man.
Really?
Right, if I had to judge.
Well, women like him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So how can I possibly put myself in the shoes of a woman's brain?
He's what they would call a hunk.
Hey?
He's what they would call a hunk.
Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, so old Poldark comes back and Elizabeth, who's his bird...
Well, don't give away the storyline because people might not have seen it yet.
Let me just tell you.
We might have the siren otherwise.
But anyway, but there's a fantastic moment when Poldark goes to look at one of the wrecked tin mines and the cousin foolishly volunteers to go with him.
Oh, no.
And in the mine...
He doesn't chuck him down it, does he?
Well, no, the thing is...
Don't say...
No, there's a mine shaft full of water, and the cousin falls in, and you can see in Pollock's eye, he's got two choices, either to pull him out or put his foot on his head.
Yeah, right.
Now, I think if it was me, I'd have put my foot on his head.
Yeah, we know that's what you'd have done.
And then you just said, it's a tragic accident, and then you get,
Don't tell us.
And you get your bird back.
Don't say what he does.
But anyway, because Poldark's a gentleman, he pulled him out.
Right, thanks for telling us.
Yeah, and now that relationship's got developed. Now, on the other one, Abandoned...
You've got to tell us some more stuff. Abandoned? Yeah, I thought it was Banished.
Banished, that's right, yeah.
Is there a show called Abandoned?
I don't think so.
Why do you keep mentioning it then?
I just get confused. Right. But anyway, the point of this one is, what I found, it was absolutely riveting, the human misery bestowed upon those who were transported to Australia. Yeah. And do you know what the main currency was?
I don't know.
Food.
Yes, I suppose so.
Because you were only given a little bit of food every day. Yeah. Now, if somebody nicked your food, you were done. Right. You could die.
And what sort of food was it? Like a piece of bread or something?
I think it was
a bit of salt beef.
A bit of salt beef or something like that, And
couldn't they catch fish when they were on their voyage?
Well, no, I don't think so. There was no fish there as far as I could see.
Not in the sea?
Well, in the sea there'd be fish, but there's not in this camp where they're kept in, where they're forced labour. That's what they do. Now, the point is that if you nick somebody's food, then you are the king of the castle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a big guy there, formerly a blacksmith in England, huge man, 6'6", and he goes around bashing everybody up, nicking their food. So eventually one of them complains to the governor or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it's like if you start snitching in jails and all that kind of stuff. You come to a sticky
get
end.
The wrong end of a sheath or whatever it's called.
That's right, you come to a sticky end. But also, a woman knew who the food thief was. Yeah. She wouldn't tell, so she would be lashed 25 times. What terrible, cruel punishment for a woman. But if she did tell, her betrothed, right, who was nicking food to keep them alive, would have been hanged.
Oh, so it was her bloke that was doing it.
Well, there was more than one food thief around. The big blacksmith was the main food thief,
right?
But because he was stealing everybody's food, right, and having it for himself, other people were then having to go and steal food from the governor.
So it was a mass food stealing scenario.
It was a mass food stealing scenario. But her dilemma was: do I get 25 lashes, or do I snitch on my chap, and does he get hanged?
So what would you have done in that situation?
Well,
reversed.
Lashes aren't that bad, are they? Really?
What you mean? You would have sacrificed yourself?
No, I wouldn't have sacrificed myself.
No, you would have given up your girlfriend.
No, I think
you would have given up your girlfriend.
I wouldn't have given her up. I'd have come to a deal.
Yeah, you would have given her up.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'd have come
Still
to
nothing from the House of Cards, by the way. Still no news on the House of Cards.
I haven't got the Netflix sorted yet.
Right.
Got to get it sorted.
You've got to get it sorted out. The
other one was Carry On Cowboy. What a film that was. I saw that this week. Sid James, utterly brilliant. Sid James and Joan Sims.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. One of the best films ever made.
Look at the time. This is Talk Sport. There'll be more coming up next from the two mics.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
Take on Dynamo Kiev. They could be the only English team left in Europe by the time this time next week rolls around, actually. But you get full updates right here on Talk Sport, of course. Doesn't sound terribly confident, but we'll talk more about it, I'm sure.
Well, I think he's had the stuffing knocked out of him. He's not the bold, crisp speaker that he was at the start of this season and all of last season when he had the self-confidence to portray himself as a successful man. He's not been successful this season, and it shows in his face. Yeah. He doesn't look at the camera the way he used to. He doesn't stare the camera in the eye.
Confidence has been knocked out of
his
him.
eyes are down a bit, and he needs to do something about it. Because we put an awful lot of faith in him.
We do. Well, when I say we do, I mean actually English football does now.
Yeah, English football does now, but
last man standing.
I'm talking about Everton fans in particular.
Now, a couple of tweets to read out to you. Yeah. William says, what a disorganised place the world would be without men of leadership qualities of a man like Porky.
I totally agree.
I think he's been smoking some of those funny cigarettes.
No, I totally agree.
Now, how about this from Toffee Nose Git, who I presume is an Everton fan. Yep. He says, Desdemona was not snatched by another fellow. Iago tricks Othello into thinking she's been unfaithful with Cassio. So I don't know where you get this Othello link with a bulldog.
I tell you what, that's a very well-read Everton fan, isn't it?
It is.
We do have very high-calibre fans, and people who know the Shakespeare works as well as that are truly wondrous.
Now, what about this from Stephen Sheffield, who's texting into 81089? He says, can you tell Mr. Parry, please, that the lad in Fortitude whose feet are supposed to have been cut off still has them firmly attached?
Oh, really? Well, they must have been saved at the last minute. No, he had frostbite, and last time I saw it, he was about to have his feet cut off. Well, clearly somebody saved him. Right. Somebody saved him, yeah.
And then finally, here's
one.
So
you're always having a go at me for giving the facts of a story. Yeah. So if I give a couple of erroneous ones, it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. What? So to mislead people?
It shocks people.
You mean you're doing that deliberately?
No.
Extraordinary. Yeah. Here's one from Guy in Hastings. He says, is there anything that Mr. Parry doesn't know about life?
Well,
that's almost a question for Ask Porky.
I've been around a long time. Somebody had a look at that horrible picture you put out of me, in that joke shirt, and says, "Oh bloody hell! Look at the gut on that.
It's not nice.
Looks like he's up the duff." I mean, this is terrible stuff, and it's only because you put out that silly picture. Yeah. I mean, terrible. I tell you what, this is good from old Toffee Nose Git, isn't it? About Iago, Othello, and all that. Nevertheless, it is based on the Othello plot.
We've never done a quiz on Shakespeare, have we? I mean, we just put it somewhere for the future.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
John Lennon quiz, by the way, has been compiled.
Oh, is it?
I've had a sneak peek at it. The independent questionnaires have already come up with it. So
I see. Okay.
It's very, very interesting.
Okay, we got a few tweets in from Liz, who's a regular contributor. Liz, thank you very much indeed. Too numerous to actually go into tonight, but as always, we appreciate your contribution. Right, it says here, year 2000, Porky was 34. Porky's fibs are tripping you both up. Your timelines will never match up. Ha ha, says James. James, I don't go out to mislead anybody.
No, that was when you just made a numerical mistake and thought that you were 34 in 2000.
Exactly.
Here's what Henry Tudor says. He says, Mike, is Parry saying that Douglas Hurd intervened to get him out of prison in Italy in 1990?
I am, indeed.
Yeah.
I am saying that. The editor of the Daily Express.
Douglas Hurd, it has to be said, was a very good personal friend of your boss at the time.
He was, Sir
Nicholas Lloyd.
That's right, absolutely. Yeah. And he did have to get me out of jail and get my passport back. Now, listen, just before we go, I want to tell you about this hero who's beaten the Germans, OK?
Right. Beaten them at what?
Well, I'm about to tell you. Clive Greenaway, whose job, get this, look, this is a great job, he's a professional Tommy Cooper impersonator.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great job,
That
isn't
is
it?
a great job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you might find, I suppose, if you went around the world, people, not everybody remembers who Tommy Cooper is now, do they?
Exactly, yeah. So he'd be unique, to some others. Anyway, he decided to enter the World Joke Competition.
Right.
And it's the world record for telling as many jokes as you can in 1 minute.
Right.
Record is held by the Germans, OK?
Uh-huh.
And
they must be very short jokes.
They are very short. I'm going to read a few out to you in a minute.
Right.
And he took the record, Mr. Greenaway, who's 59, by the way, and a professional Tommy Cooper impersonator, took the record from Marcus Weiss, a German comic who'd held the record since 2012, 21 jokes in a minute, OK? But Greenaway, Mr. Greenaway, said, I was going to beat them. Here are some of the Greenaway jokes, OK? And I'll read them very fast, because he had to, for the competition, OK?
So it's going to be more than 21 jokes inside a minute, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not going to read them all out. I'm going to read just a small selection. So these are the English jokes from Mr. Greenaway. My wife and I were happy, but then we met. My wife dresses to kill and cooks the same way. My wife and I haven't spoken in years. I don't like to interrupt her. The pollen count, that's a tough job. I ate a ploughman's lunch. He wasn't happy. I went to the paper shop, but it had blown away. I went to the corner shop and bought 3 corners, right? They're the English jokes, right? Yeah. And this was up against the German.
They're very Tommy Cooper-esque, by the way, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Up against the German jokes, and these were the German jokes, OK? Doctor, I have problems with my circulation. We'll go straight ahead instead. Last winter, someone froze to death at a drive-in theatre. He wanted to see the film closed in winter. Doctor, where is the patient who was run over by a steamroller? He's in rooms 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. A skeleton visits the doctor. You're far too late, says the doctor. What do you do with a dog that has no legs? You drag it around the block. 2 cannibals are eating a clown, and one says to the other, this tastes a bit funny. What is a Spaniard without a car? I love this one. This is the last one. A Spaniard without a car is called Carlos.
Carlos. Very good.
I love that.
That's not bad. I mean, a lot of those are those kind of one-liners. I mean, it's a bit like when they do the best joke at the Edinburgh Festival, and it's always won by the same guy,
Tim Vine.
Yeah, and I never find it particularly funny. But you know, there's a Twitter account for Tommy Cooper, which is called @the Tommy Cooper.
Oh yeah,
and it's just kind of things that either I presume he would have said or that he did say.
Yeah,
and these are quite good as well. Yeah. Tommy Cooper. This policeman came up to me with a pencil and a piece of very thin paper. He said, "I want you to trace someone for me," which is quite good. Yeah. The back of my anorak leaps up and down and people chuck money at me. It's my livelihood.
My livelihood. Love it.
I went to the doctor and said, "Doctor, I feel like I'm a set of curtains." And the doctor said, "For heaven's sake, man, pull yourself together."
Yeah, but the one I most like Tommy Cooper, and I use it all the time, I always get to laugh, is a man walked into a bar. He went, ouch. It was an iron bar. Yeah. That's one of my favourites. I always tell that when I've had a few
wonder
drinks.
Whether Tommy Cooper...
People always bend over laughing.
I wonder whether Tommy Cooper is as sort of renowned in younger people's minds as he is
No, of course he's not, because they don't remember him.
When did he die?
He died
on stage, didn't he?
He died on stage, and guess who was in the audience?
Who?
Mr. Brazil.
Was he?
Yeah, he was at the London Palladium. I'm sure he was at the London Palladium, and Al tells the story that his feet were sticking out from under the curtain,
right.
And everybody thought it was part of the act. They thought they were a pair of false legs.
They didn't realise,
No, they didn't realise, and they dragged him on stage, and, I suppose he died with his boots on, literally. But they made a documentary on Tommy Cooper about a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was rather cruel. It portrayed him as a drunk
and
woman
his family
abuser.
quite upset by it.
Yeah, I think they were, and it wasn't... but then again, I suppose, history makes a judgment on you, and once you're dead...
Well, they do.
You ain't got a choice, mate.
Speaking of television and documentaries and all that sort of thing, before you go, we were going to talk about Jeremy Clarkson earlier. He's still all over the front pages of the papers.
I think it's fantastic.
It looks to me as though the BBC are going to be put into a situation where they're going to have to, make a decision to let him go, doesn't it?
It's a very political thing, because if you get into the detail of it, all the papers have gone big on it, right? Yeah. So, by the way, do you know what I saw in one of the pictures from Cheltenham today?
No.
You would love this, buying your £70 bottles of champagne.
Yeah.
Moët Chandon, have produced what they now call the champagne funnel, so that you can actually sip from a bottle of champagne with dignity.
Oh, really?
Because the funnel fits onto the top of the bottle, but it doesn't come out in a swade.
Right.
It filters
so all the bubbles don't...
Exactly, it filters it out.
I don't drink champagne from the bottle, though.
Yeah, I've seen you drink champagne from the bottle.
Shocking.
But it's a little black funnel, it's... I mean, it suit you fine. Right, so Jeremy Clarkson, right, put all the papers together, and I have done. It appears that he's at the centre of what you might call a politically correct tug of war inside the BBC.
Because there are people at the BBC who want him out, right?
Jeremy Clarkson, we all know, is the most politically incorrect man you could ever meet. He makes jokes which we're not going to repeat here because some people might find them offensive. Yeah. But...
what you see is what you get, right?
What you see is what you get, absolutely. And he's brusque, and he can be brash, and he can be insensitive, and all that kind of stuff. But apparently there are people... there's a chap called Danny Cohen, who is a bigwig at the BBC. He's the BBC Director of Television, and this guy's history is that he believes very strongly in human rights, as we all do. He is of the liberal persuasion politically.
He may believe in more of the human rights stuff than you perhaps.
He might do. He might do. What I'm saying is his attitude to life.
Diversity in broadcasting, all that kind of thing.
Very much so. His attitude to life and his political views are completely the opposite to Jeremy Clarkson's.
You can't imagine they're having dinner together very often.
You can't imagine them sitting down together and saying, look, let's draw up an agenda for a new show and what sort of jokes should we have.
But we've now got 500,000 people petitioning the BBC. I think that was the last count yesterday.
600,000 last count. 600,000.
Which is a big number to try and go against, isn't it?
And as we're a public body, the BBC, as it's funded by you and me and the taxpayer and all that, surely they, more than any other organisation, private company, have got to listen to the viewers. And if the viewers want Clarkson back, you've got to bring him back. And old Danny Cohen, who thinks, well, he's a bit politically incorrect for our organisation, tough luck, Danny.
Well, also the
viewers should speak.
The commercial arm, who make, about 100 million quid a year off this guy, will probably be saying, by the way, if you get rid of him, where are we going to find all this money to make all these TV shows?
Apparently there's another issue, and that is that you're absolutely right about his commercial value, but some countries and organisations and broadcasting companies abroad in America and all that have been promised another 3 years of Clarkson.
Oh, otherwise, and they might need some money back.
Exactly. If they boot him out and he doesn't make the programmes for another 3 series, they've got to pay back tens of millions of pounds.
Amazing. It's been absolutely dominating the front pages for 2 days now, and I'm sure it might be for a third day as well. Mr. Parry, thank you very much indeed. We'll return with the 2 mics, of course, at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, at which point we will be doing the Porky quiz, which is this week on John Lennon, and I'm going to predict another 3 or 4 out of 10, I think.
Can hardly express.
Thank you very much indeed. There might be some singing on that basis tomorrow.
Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne, podcast from the 2 mics. Look at the light! So those filthy old shoes of yours that you've never, ever cleaned.
Yeah, I'm going to throw them out, actually.
Well, good. Well, go and find one of these plastic bins where you put your old shoes in. God knows who'd want to wear your old shoes. I mean, a tramp wouldn't be seen dead in your old shoes. But
maybe you'd like them.
Apparently they can recycle them.
Maybe you'd like them.
I love the trees, particularly in the autumn when they're shredding leaves, particularly in the spring when the wind picks them up and they're waving at you. You stand on your balcony there and the trees are literally waving at me. They're swaying in the wind. I wave back at them,